I'm here today in General Motors evlive studio outside of Detroit. In fact, I am the first journalist that General Motors has allowed inside their evlive studio to record video. So thanks for letting me in here today, GM. Now, evlive is a live, one-on-one, interactive video service that allows customers to talk to EV specialists so they can answer their questions about electric vehicles. They can answer questions about electric vehicle range, charging, battery architecture, basically any questions you have about electric vehicles, and they don't necessarily have to be GM vehicles. The EV specialists will answer for you. Now we're going to take a walk around the studio, check out what this is all about before I sit down with Hoss Hassani, General Motors VP of EV Ecosystem. This video, as well as all of the videos here on State of Charge, is powered by my channel sponsor, Qmerit. Now, Qmerit is also General Motors' preferred installer for electric vehicle charging equipment for their customers. And Qmerit is actually the largest network of electric vehicle charging equipment installation specialists in all of North America. Qmerit installers understand electric vehicle charging installation best practices better than your average electrician does, and that's why I recommend all my followers use Qmerit for their electric vehicle charging installation needs. All right, we're going to take a quick walk around the studio now before we sit down with Hoss. Okay, this corner of the studio over here is where the EV specialists talk about DC fast charging. They can answer all your questions about DC fast charging. And we also have over here one of GM's Ultium 360 DC fast chargers. And if you notice, they have both connectors on there, the CHAdeMO connector as well as CCS. That's because people have questions about different connectors, CHAdeMO and CCS. Even though CHAdeMO is pretty much being phased out in North America, and GM never sold any electric vehicles with a CHAdeMO connector, they still have it here. So they can explain it to people if somebody calls up and doesn't understand connectors, or maybe somebody calls up that has experience with a Nissan Leaf, and they can show them the different connectors and help explain the difference in CHAdeMO and CCS. They have a Hummer EV over here, and they actually can climb in the vehicle and show people the infotainment system and how charging is displayed and what it shows you in the vehicle so that you know what's going on in your vehicle when it's charging. This is the home charging area. That was public charging over there with the DC fast charging. Now this is home charging over here now. And they have a nice cool Cadillac Lyric here. They can also go inside there and show you that infotainment screen. But over here is really cool. These are the home charging products that GM offers. Let's start on the end here. This is their portable level 1, level 2 charging cord. Let's see if I can get close and tight in there. This comes standard in most of GM's vehicles. You get that in the with the vehicle. And then over here we have, this is their home charger here. That's a 48 amp home charger. So check a look at that. You can buy that. And then they have this other Ultium 80 amp charger. Now the interesting thing is, you can see there it puts out 19.2 kilowatts. It's an 80 amp unit. It looks exactly the same as the 48 amp unit. So I don't know if that's going to be a permanent solution. I would almost think that they should offer something that looks a little bit different, and quite honestly the 48 amp solutions can be a little bit more compact than the ones that are higher powered, but that's me putting in my 2 cents for charging stations. You know I can't help myself when it comes to that. But it's cool, so they can walk over here if you dial into evlive, and you could ask, well, how do I charge at home? And they can walk you over and say, well, this is going to come with your car, and you could buy this, and this will put out this amount of power, or you could buy this if your vehicle can accept that much power. A lot of the new Ultium-based GM vehicles are going to have 80 amp onboard chargers, so they'll be able to charge really robustly at home, and you might want to consider getting a high-powered home charger like that. But hopefully the EV specialist can also explain how if you want to put a 80 amp charger in your house, you're going to have to add a 100 amp dedicated circuit, and that entails possibly a service upgrade and all that stuff. But I'm sure they're experienced in that, because that's important info to know. Let's take a walk down to the other side. And over here we have, this is where they can explain the Ultium architecture, if you're interested in. And I thought it was interesting that they have this here, and this is just a mock-up of a Celestique battery. They're going to have a real battery pack here, I think from a Lyric soon, and they're going to explain how packaging dedicated platforms allows for more interior space in the vehicle. There's somebody behind me doing a live EV specialist tour right now of it, and so this is going to be able to, this area here will help explain, you know, the benefits of electric vehicles, how simple skateboard platforms are, and they can show the drive units and talk about battery cells even. They said they're going to have battery cell demonstrations here to show you why sometimes batteries are packaged vertical, sometimes are horizontal. So it was interesting to hear that they're going to go into that depth of explanation if somebody's interested in it. And then finally down here on the end we have the commercial fleet area. So this would be if a commercial customer called up. We got the Bright Drop van over here, and then have a Chevy Bolt EUV here. And you know, you'd say, well, why do they have this over here for commercial? Well, the EUV is a great vehicle for fleets. For instance, they were just saying, you know, how Domino's now bought Chevy Bolts for their fleets. So the evlive team helped train some of the Domino's drivers, because for a lot of these delivery people, they never drove an electric vehicle before. So they needed some help with, you know, just the basics on EVs and charging and regenerative braking and so forth and so on. So the evlive team actually trained some of the Domino's drivers, and they're here to train more if, you know, more Domino's gets the electric delivery vehicles and the drivers don't really understand them. They can just dial in here and get a live representative and go through everything with the video. That's what's really cool about it. It's not just a phone call. It's a video, a one-way video. They can't see you, but you see them, and they walk around the studio, and you know, you're looking at a live person and they're giving you a live demonstration, which I think is a great concept. Okay, well, next up, I'm going to sit down with Hoss Hassani, General Motors VP of EV Ecosystem, and we're going to talk evlive. Okay, so I'm here today with Hoss Hassani, General Motors VP of EV Ecosystem in the evlive studio. Hoss, I love this place. We did some talking a few weeks ago about how EV education is near and dear to my heart. I've spent a good part of the last 5 years helping to educate the public and dealerships on electric vehicles, because it's one of the big impediments to electrification in my opinion. So I guess I'm speaking to the choir with what you've done here. So why don't you tell my followers a little bit about, so what is evlive?
So evlive is essentially an on-demand, interactive, free environment, education platform, if you want to call it that, that anybody can call into from any internet-connected device, smartphone, tablet, laptop, whatever. Call anytime, and you can have a live conversation on video with, you can see some of our EV live specialists behind us here. You can have a conversation with them. They're real people, they're not avatars or bots or robots who are going to take over society pretty soon. So they're here to answer any question you have about EVs. It's not, you know, this is coming from General Motors, obviously, and we've got General Motors electric vehicles in the studio, but this isn't a sales environment. We're not trying to sell an EV, we're trying to sell EV, the concept of EV. So when we did a lot of research and found out what holds people back from considering electric vehicles, right, you know, questions about range, about batteries, about charging and so forth, we built this studio, the way we built it, designed it, specifically around those pain points or those impediments or those concerns that people have. So there's a charging zone, there's a battery zone, there's a range zone, there's a, you know, just showing the diversity of EVs that General Motors is offering, or frankly that the industry is offering. So we built the studio to get people comfortable with the idea of electric vehicles, and we've been surprised by actually who's calling.
Right. So is this just consumer facing?
So no, actually, when we originally hatched the idea for evlive, we had probably around 3 audiences in mind. One was the general public, people who are shopping, who are on the fence, people who may be completely opposed to the idea of an EV and just want to have a conversation, events, and so forth. So we had the general public in mind. We had dealers in mind as an audience. You mentioned the importance of training up dealers, right? I mean, you go into any retail environment right now, whether it's a dedicated boutique or a dealership or whatever, and you're going to get a wide variety of expertise on electric vehicles, right? So we built this studio as an on-demand training studio for our dealers as well. So dealers are calling in, they can get training in a moment, they can do it with their whole staff. They can call in if they're doing a sales event in their dealership and they want to have some, support from some specialists, they can do that. And the third group are fleet and commercial customers. So you can see the Bright Drop Zevo van that we have here. We're going to have a Silverado work truck in here pretty soon. We're doing a lot of deals with fleet and commercial customers. We announced a deal recently to sell Bolt EVs to Domino's, for example. They want to electrify their fleet. Guess what? A lot of Domino's drivers have never driven an EV. So we did a call with them. We've done it with AstraZeneca and a few of our fleet customers. So we envisioned those three use cases initially.
Okay, so you talked about the dealers, and it sounded like it was elective. If a dealer just wants to call in, they'll call in and get some training.
Yeah.
Is there any aspect of this that's mandatory for the dealerships? Like, are you saying you have to do a certain amount of log time on evlive or something like that?
Yeah, we are big fans of, what's the expression? Like, you get more bees with honey than with, I don't know, fire? I don't know the other half of that expression. I just know we're early days with evlive, right? So we're putting it out there, we're getting the word out. We've had a couple dealers get really excited about this. They are using it as training right now. We've got some dealers who are putting large LED walls in their showrooms to use our team here to complement their vehicle delivery, right? If customers taking delivery of their EV, the sales consultant's going to do a lot, but then, if they've got some more obscure esoteric questions, our evlive specialist will be physically, digitally, I should say, in the dealership. We do envision, we have a fairly comprehensive learning curriculum for our dealers around EVs. We affectionately call it EV Academy. So we absolutely do see evlive working its way and integrating into our EV Academy curriculum, so becoming essentially, quasi-mandatory over time. But for now, we're seeing a lot of popularity from dealers already.
Okay. I love the fact that this is a visual showroom where I see them walking around and they can actually show the people that they're talking to the charging stations, the vehicles as they're asking them the questions, which I love. But do you think that was necessary? Do you think, why not just a 1-800 call center? It probably would cost you a lot less. You could man it with more people and just answer questions one after another. Yeah,
because first of all, anything to do with automotive is a very visual and visceral experience, right? In any context, you could do a phone and you could have conversations with a phone, but for, I'm a big nerd around communication, effectiveness, and there's a nonverbal aspect, there's a verbal aspect, there's a visual aspect, and so forth. So right now, our studio is kitted out with these printed graphics with some monitors integrated. In about a month's time, we're going to be completely changing out all of those printed graphics, and everything that you see here right now that's a printed graphic is going to be an LED wall. Why are we turning that into an LED wall? Well, we've got the corner over there, which is the house, right? Everybody's got different types of houses, or maybe somebody wants to know what it's like if I don't have a garage, right? If I've got a drive pad and so forth. So we're going to have the ability to dynamically, digitally, instantly change the environment to help with the conversation that we're having with that individual who's calling in. This whole thing is not about us giving you some canned script and just boring you for 30 minutes with what we want to say. It's trying to understand, why are you calling in? Is your question, are you an owner? We're getting calls from Tesla owners and Kia owners and stuff because they can't get their answers from a website or a 1-800 number. So they're calling in and they're getting the answer because we're able to just have that more human interaction with somebody. Now, right now it's one-way video. You can see us, we can't see you. We'll enable two-way video with a customer opt-in. But we just think the visual is really important. Showing somebody a DC fast charger and the difference between a DC fast charger and a level 2 charger, an AC charger, we could do that verbally, but it's so much more, in terms of a learning exercise, it just seeds the concept much more if you can see what you're talking about.
Yeah, and that absolutely makes a lot of sense. I wasn't trying to say I wish it was a 1-800,
no.
But I had to ask that question.
This is a huge investment, right? This is a huge investment, but we did it because it helps with the learning, which is why we're here.
It makes sense. And you mentioned that a Tesla owner or somebody
Yeah.
that owns another vehicle, say a Ford F-150 Lightning like I drive.
We'll change that soon.
Could call in. Yeah, well, I have a Silverado EV on order,
Nice.
so we'll see.
I like that.
And somebody could call in, and if they don't own a GM product, or they're not even interested in buying a GM product, or they don't think they're interested, and you'll treat them the same. You'll
Absolutely.
ask their questions, and if it's not like a hard sell, is what I'm getting at.
If there are EV haters out there, call. Let us convince you.
none of them.
We'll take on that challenge. If you're an owner, if you're driving a competitor's vehicle and you ran out of charge on the side of the road and you don't know what to do, give us a call. We are. Again, I talked about the original use cases we envisioned for the studio. We're just finding that expanding. We're having interest from utilities to use this as a platform to educate, their customers in their service area and so forth. So, yeah, absolutely, anybody can call.
And so I noticed you also can schedule a group call.
Yeah.
So that would be for, say, like a business, or
Yeah.
a dealership. Maybe they say come in and half an hour before we open and do training. But businesses can also schedule that and do like a group call, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
What's the wait time? That's probably a dynamic flow, but if somebody were to log in, what do you expect? Would they have to wait long before they can get a live person? I know the best is probably to schedule, right?
It is. And we've given customers both options, right? You can schedule an appointment, which is definitely the best because it's, works around your schedule and you kind of know that you're going to get that call right away. We're finding it depends on the day, the time, the patterns are very, all over the place. So you can call in right now and have a 1 minute hold time. And you'll just see the countdown. It's like 1 minute left, 50 seconds left, and you're in. So we're having a lot of calls just be coming in the queue on demand. If the queue is going to be more than 30 minutes, we'll just recommend that you book an appointment. But we're finding a lot of people are just coming in on demand and having that experience, and then we've got a lot of calls that are scheduled.
Well, I would imagine when this video goes live, there's going to be an instant queue, so I'll let you know ahead of time, and so when it gets closer, you could add some more staff for sure.
Yeah, I might be here. Maybe I'll put on,
that'd be great to see you on there. So, what was what prompted you to do this? Was there like an event, or is it just
exciting event?
Yeah, or is it just something that you guys have been thinking about for a while, and now that EVs are getting more and more, and you're leaning in on Ultium, and all these Ultium vehicles are going to come out because this is we've needed this for a long time. Why now?
Well, I think the reason why now made so much sense for us, or now when now was now, just like a year ago when we hatched the idea and so forth and brought it to life, is that now we're in a position that when customers have questions about range. When customers have a question about charging, where do I charge? When customers have questions about, do you even have a vehicle that I want, right? Are you just in the luxury vehicle game? Because that's what electric vehicles have been for a long time, with the exception of the Bolt and maybe one other car. When people have questions about battery longevity, cost of ownership, and so forth, now, and speaking selfishly from General Motors' standpoint, we're going to be introducing dozens of cars over the next couple of years. This year alone, we've got, of course, the Bolt, which is the most affordable EV. We've got our commercial vehicle in the Bright Drop. We've got our Silverado pickup truck, which is going to have the most range of any truck out there. We've got the Hummer, we've got the Lyriq, we've got the Blazer and Equinox, the first $30,000 EV electric SUV in the heart. So that's on the vehicle availability side. On the charging side, of course, General Motors announced its investment, hundreds of millions of dollars of charging infrastructure, both level 2, DC fast charging in communities, in metro markets, on corridors to allow people to do a coast-to-coast road trip in EV just on the Ultium Charge 360 network. When we talk about home charging solutions, Bolt and Lyriq, the only brands right now that are offering a turnkey home charging solution. In the case of Bolt and Lyriq, it's essentially free for most customers to install that 240 volt outlet. So now is the time where we can take all of those main concerns that people have that hold them back from EVs, and we have an answer for every one of those concerns, right? If we were doing this 10 years ago, we might not be able to answer the charging infrastructure thing with as much confidence. We didn't have the range of vehicles that we're bringing out. Now is the time for not just General Motors, but the industry, but especially for General Motors.
Okay, and we talked about the products that GM's going to offer in
Yeah.
the Ultium home charging solutions. Can you also answer questions to help them with getting them installed?
Absolutely, yeah. So as I mentioned, we've got the program for Bolt, where if you purchase or lease a Bolt, we'll take care of your 240 volt outlet in your home. We'll cover the cost of that. We're covering the cost of that for most customers. If they've got like a standard home setup, if their home setup is a little more complicated, we'll give them credit towards the install, working with Q-Merit on that.
Which is my channel sponsor, Q-Merit.
we love Q-Merit. So Q-Merit is doing a turnkey solution for our customers. Now, in the case of the Cadillac Lyriq, they're doing a very similar program. Again, most of those customers, Lyriq customers, are getting that installation service done for free. And even in the Hummer, we're not covering the cost for a Hummer. Generally speaking, those folks don't need the incentive, but we are providing that turnkey concierge service, again, through Q-Merit, where the customer who wants to get that home installation completely taken care of, they call our concierge, dedicated for our Hummer customers, and we're taking care of it. So, that's a big anxiety. 80% of charging is done at home, but people are still like, how do I get it done? It sounds really expensive, all of that. We're doing that. We can answer their questions. We can refer them to Q-Merit if they want to go deeper. But yeah.
So you might not know this, but I just ordered a Bolt EV. And so I'm going to get free home
Bolt
chargers.
and a Silverado, Tom,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm loving this video.
I'll probably get the Bolt first, though,
Yeah,
because,
yes.
although there's a long wait time on
There
them.
is.
But,
people
so I'm
love
waiting.
the Bolts.
I'm in the queue.
Yeah.
So
I'll give you mine for a little while.
That'd be great. So you're going to come to my house and install a charger.
I'm just going to come down.
I might need a charger in my garage.
I've seen your wall of fame, and if I could find space to put another charger, I'll put my charger in there.
Okay, last question.
Yeah.
How long is this going to be necessary? How long do you think it's going to take before the public doesn't need these training wheels anymore? Because that's what this is. This is training wheels for EVs.
I don't know the answer to that question. I know that the industry hit 6% of total sales being electric vehicles last year, and based on what we've seen in Europe and China, which are way ahead of us in terms of EV adoption, once you hit that 5% threshold, you see an acceleration, right? Because now more people are seeing it at their workplace from a coworker, or more people are seeing it in their apartment or on the street, or a neighbor has an electric vehicle. So you see this acceleration. I think people are still going to have a lot of questions about it for a while, Tom. We're going to have a lot of owners who maybe didn't get everything during the delivery process, and they want to go on a road trip, and they forgot, how do I go on a road trip? How do I plan a road trip? How do I set up plug and charge, So we think there's going to be a long runway, and evlive is going to have a place and a role to play for some time. But hey, maybe if we do our job right, that's going to be as short a time as possible. But for now, call into evlive, tell us what you think, and we're going to continue to iterate. We're going to continue to see the space evolve, the training evolve, the things that we want to talk to people about evolve based on what they're asking.
Yeah, and you've said a few times in the interview, call into evlive. You don't actually call, right?
Sorry.
You go to evlive.gm.com.
Yeah.
And you can take a visual journey first, and then if you want, you could just, there's a lot of information there that you can just get on your own. But then if you need more information, you click on the speak to an EV specialist, and if someone's available right then, you just jump in, and right now, as he said, it's a one-way. You see them, but they can't see you.
Correct.
So and you're not being recorded or anything like that.
So call in your shorts, call in from the loo on your new bidet, wherever you're comfortable, call in. We're not going to see you. We are looking at enabling two-way video, though, because when you start to think about home installation services, or maybe somebody's on a road trip and they've got a question about what's going on inside their car, they can turn on their video, their consent. They can turn on their video and stuff. So we see a use case for that as well. But.
So I see the title for this video. Hoss Hassani says, call in on your bidet.
But literally don't call, because you can't call. When I say call, I mean, whatever. I can't even say log on. People still say log on. It's like, what are you logging on to in the universe? You don't log on to anything anymore.
The wide world web.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen.
Yes.
Thank you very much for this interview.
Pleasure,
it was definitely informative, and
awesome.
looking forward to talking to you more about education and walking with you on GM's EV journey.
Well, listen, when you get your Silverado, if you need any help figuring out charging, which hardware to put on your wall, we're here for you.
Okay,
Just,
yeah,
you know,
I might need
call,
to,
don't call.
I might have to log on and
log on,
get some charging advice.
use your rotary phone and give us a shout. Yeah.
Excellent. Again, thanks for inviting me here, and I
Pleasure.
appreciate
Thanks,
the
everyone.
interview. So I loved everything that Hoss said. I love the EV Live studio. Everything sounds fantastic, but do they actually do a good job of answering people's questions? So I decided I would go to EV Live and see how well they do. But I know they would know if I did it. I spoke to all the different EV specialists that worked there that day and did recognize my voice. And to be honest with you, they're probably expecting me to do this. So I figured I'd bring a friend over. This is my friend Pete. He drives a Tesla Model 3, so he knows about electric cars. We're gonna act like he's interested in buying a Chevy Bolt, and he doesn't know anything about EVs. He's gonna ask a bunch of basic questions. We'll see how well they do. Ready for this?
Sure, let's do it.
EV Live wants to use your microphone. Allow.
Okay, we do have audio. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah,
Welcome.
sorry I had the microphone muted.
Oh, okay. Easy right there. So I'm going to welcome you to EV Live. My name is Jerica. I'll be your specialist for your call. And it's a live experience, as you can see, but it's one way, so I cannot see you.
Okay.
Perfect. How'd you find us today?
Oh, I was searching online for information on EVs and your site came up for EV questions.
Great. Yeah, so we're here. We're brought to you from General Motors, but we're here to talk about the questions that you might have.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So I'll tell you, we can talk about anything you want to talk about in the vehicle. Here at EV Live, we talk about charging, we talk about road tripping, anything like that. And then there's also, if you didn't know, there's a Chevrolet.com/MyWay. That's where all of the automobile specialists, so they more specialize on like different trims and packages and options. Just so you know, all of your
Okay.
tools on there. But the Bolt for a commuting vehicle is an awesome vehicle. How many miles are you driving?
It's about a 100-mile commute. It's a 52 miles each way.
Okay, yeah, that's a long commute every day.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
why. Yeah, that's why I would, I'm looking for a Bolt for something that's cheap to save money on. I have done a little bit of research on the car. It says it has a 259-mile range, which should be fine for me. But one question I have is I read and hear a lot about EVs losing a lot of range in the winter, and I do live in the Northeast where it does get cold. So I'm just will this work for me in the winter with 100 miles a day commute?
So 100 miles a day, if you're charging it, I wouldn't worry so much about that as long as you're charging it up. So let me show you some of the different charging. Well, one, there's different charging options. On here, day to day, they recommend keeping your vehicle charged at 80%. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's just day to day. You can charge to 100 if you're like, hey, listen, I have a far drive and I know that the weather, is inclement. You can charge it. When you charge it, there's a couple of things that you do lose in the vehicle, which are different than gas, which is one pedal driving, and the other one is regen on demand. Okay. And the idea is, say if you're in stop-and-go traffic and you have one pedal driving on, you are no longer using the brake. You're just driving. Can you see my foot there? We're just driving with one pedal, so I push down and go. I let off. The brake lights are on, and it slows down pretty quickly there for you. And then you can also use it with regen on demand, which is that little battery button. So the idea is it's storing kinetic energy back into the battery versus using the brake, which uses the brake pads and it touches and it makes heat, and you just lose energy as heat, right? Since energy can't be destroyed, it just kind of transfers with that. So one, that can help your range under one pedal, and then two, if you charge to 100, you just don't have access to use that.
Okay.
So.
Do I need to use that?
You don't have to, no.
No? Okay.
No, you don't have to, but honestly, most people who drive an EV, like in city driving or stop and go, you use it just to extend the range.
Okay.
But no, you don't have to.
Okay, I just want to back up a second. You said you recommend charging it to 80%. Why not 100% every day?
All vehicles, pretty much that are electric vehicles, it's recommended just keep it at 80. One of the reasons, and the two would be because then you have regen on demand and the one pedal. There's nowhere for that energy to go back into. So you start gaining energy or miles as you start using that.
Okay. Okay.
As you go on to that, and it's just for the longevity of the battery overall. But you have 8 years. You have a 100,000-mile warranty on all of that as well.
Oh, 8
But
years.
you can charge it. Yep. You have 8 year, 100,000-mile warranty for your battery.
Okay.
But yeah, you can charge it to 100%. That does not impact your warranty in any way.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. And what do I need to charge it? Does a charger come with the car?
So if you buy a Bolt EUV, you get a dual level. EUV is a little bit bigger than this vehicle. Has a sunroof, roof rails. You can do hands-free driving. It does offer more features. The Bolt EV is a little bit more base. It does not come with a dual level. You can get the cord for $295, which I would recommend doing if you're buying a Bolt EV. Another thing that I would recommend is if you get your vehicle this year, you can actually install a 240 outlet through our Chevrolet home installation offer on us. So they can take care of the installation if you have, a home or a place that you're charging the vehicle is up to $1,250 that they'll cover. On the Bolt EV, there is a charging station available.
Okay, so
and with your
could you explain to me again the dual level? What was that?
Let me show it to you. I have one right where we started our call. So a dual level is portable. You can take it with you. You can take it on your road trip if you wanted to.
Okay.
It gives you the ability to plug in at a 120 outlet, which just charges the vehicle pretty slow. You get 4 miles in 1 hour, so not a lot. The 240 on the Bolt EV, you can get up to 25 miles in 1 hour of charge time. So if you're driving 100 miles a day, you need to keep it plugged in for at least 4 hours.
Okay. All right.
This particular one.
Okay. I'm new at this again. So saying that you're saying only the 12 amp or the smaller one comes with the car. I said, which one?
On the Bolt EV.
The Bolt EV.
It only comes with the 3-prong here. I have one kind of broken apart in the back of this vehicle.
Okay.
All the Ultium vehicles come with it. The Bolt EV, it comes in a lower price point of I think it's like $27,000 starting. Mm-hmm. It comes with this outlet here.
Okay. So
but you can upgrade to this one, which is what you'd want to do.
Okay. So so that I have this correctly, the base model Bolt just comes with the 110 charger, and that obviously
you would
is
want to add on the 240, so the dual level.
Okay, I have to buy that myself.
The dealer can sell it to you as an accessory.
Okay, but you help with the installation of the charger. You set up to $1,000. You said
GM partnership company is called Q-Merit.
Okay,
and on the Bolt EV, they will give you, it's $1,000 towards installation and $250 towards the permitting.
Oh, okay.
And they take care of all of that for you.
Okay.
And as long as it's standard installation, everything's included. And non-standard, they will cover up until that dollar amount.
Okay. How long does it take to charge on the 240?
On the 240, I think it's 8.5 hours.
8.5 hours. Okay, so I would be able to charge overnight, be fully charged in the morning. So I would need that for my commute, I think.
Yeah, and let me tell you what your other option is, okay?
Mm-hmm.
One, no matter what, I would 100% for $295 recommend getting the dual level, no matter what. Because you can carry that with you and say, even if you were at someone's house, you can either plug in at 120. There's charging along your routes as well. You can always look for the charging stops if you ever, were in that situation. And something that they never talk about, which I guess is less common, is you can even plug in at like an RV hookup or anything like that.
Oh,
I
okay.
did that when I went camping once in the EV, and I'm like, okay, let me just plug it in. That does not show up in your map, right? This is also something that is currently available. It's starting at $5.99. It's a power up charging station, and with the Bolt, you get 39 miles of charge in 1 hour.
Okay.
On this particular one, I think they have it on sale for $400 and something right now. It went on sale, but $5.99 is the standard or I guess the standard price for it. With that being said, it's early enough, because they're still considered early adopters for people who get electric, to see if your energy company, whoever your utility company is, electric company, if they have any incentives. I'm in Detroit Metro, and one of my coworkers was able, when the installation for the Bolt was covered, they didn't pay anything. And then their utility company reimbursed them the cost of a charging station.
Will any charger work, or do I need to buy that one?
You can do any charger as long as it's a J1772, which is this outlet.
J1772, is that fairly common?
It's pretty much the standard of charging.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's a standard.
Yep,
okay.
looks like this.
Okay.
Yep. So there's only a few different types. One is CHAdeMO, which in the United States is getting pretty much phased out, like Nissan Leaf.
Okay.
You're more likely to see it in Europe. Then there's the Tesla, and then there's what they call the J1772 or CCS, which is combined charging station, which is your fast charger.
Okay. And
so if you were out in public, a fast charger, that Bolt can charge at a 50 kilowatt rate on it. So you can get, at a 50 kilowatt charger, you can get 100 miles in 30 minutes or approximately.
Okay, so I noticed both those connectors look different. So both of them work with the Bolt, the J whatever 17, and that we lost her.
Level 2. Level 1 is your 120 outlet. Level 2 is a 240.
You know what?
So this is your home charging, and then the fast charging.
Oh, I see. Okay, we actually lost you for a moment. So it looks like that's combined there.
Okay, I apologize.
Yeah. So the answer is yes.
I didn't realize you couldn't hear me.
So yeah, it was just for a few seconds, but so the answer is yes. Both of those connectors fit into the car. I see how it's. Okay, I see how that is.
So the home charging, level 1, level 2, public, and then your fast charge would be the full component of it.
Okay.
And then this is an example of a level 2 public charger. If you see one in your area, just look at it. I always encourage everyone. It'll tell you like the kilowatts.
Okay.
And then the higher the kilowatts, the faster it will charge.
Okay, and actually,
and yours charges up to, I think it's 11.5 on that vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay,
that's about as quick as it's going to charge at a level 2.
Okay.
So that would be about 39 miles in 1 hour.
Okay. Actually, and that actually leads me to the next question. My wife and I have a vacation condo up in New Hampshire. It's about 400 miles away. So obviously, I will have to stop on the way because I looked at the range of the cars about 260 miles. And so, where do I find the chargers?
Okay. Do you have a Chevrolet vehicle now?
No.
Okay, so there is something, if you want to explore this, you can download the My Chevrolet brand app, and on there's an option that says Explore EV. If you click on Explore EV, there is an option to plan a route.
Okay.
And you can look at all of the different charging along the way.
Oh, it's kind of like a GPS,
exactly.
Like a Waze or Google Maps, and it shows you where the chargers are?
Okay. So
Okay.
you can do that from your home. The Bolt EV does not come with navigation. The Bolt EUV does. It does. The EUV is a few $1,000s more.
Do I need any apps? How do I use the chargers? And credit card?
Yeah. So they're all different. We do have 11 different partners on our app. EVgo is our biggest partner. So we basically have like a plug and charge system where it automatically charges you. You plug in and then off you go.
Okay.
And it puts it on your app and you can pay for it there. My coworker has a charge point where he just pays his bill on the charge point, or as you go, it comes out of your account. There are so many different ones at this moment.
Okay.
It just depends on the charger that you are. Kind of like, let's see, if I were to compare it to, say, like a parking meter,
Okay.
you can pay at different parking meters. Some of them you might have an app for if you're in the city.
Okay.
Some you might not, but you can pay at.
Okay.
Like, for example, this particular one, this is a tap and pay.
Okay.
This is not functional, but you could tap and pay on this
Oh.
particular one.
Okay.
Ultium, anything that says Ultium Charge 360 is the GM's integration to charging, and there is a network going in East Coast to West Coast of
Okay.
fast chargers.
And how much does it cost? I mean, I know what my electricity rate is at home, but is it more using a public charger?
So public chargers are more. That's going to vary on region. It's going to vary greatly on what that would be. The cheapest way to charge your vehicle, and I can tell you how to calculate that yourself, would be at home during the off-peak hours. So if you know your utility rate, do you know how many cents you pay per kilowatt hour?
Yes, I do actually. I was looking into it, and it's the same for 24 hours. They don't in New Jersey.
What?
It's
Wow.
I think
mine
it's
is-
right now. It's about 14 cents.
Okay, so by the way, the Bolt battery is a 66 kilowatt battery, and by the way, you pay just under national average.
Okay.
I'm in Detroit; it's much higher. So 14 cents times 66. So it'll cost you $9.24 if you were to fill that vehicle, let's say from 0 all the way to 100%.
Okay. All right. And
So
what?
you would take that, multiply the kilowatt hours of the battery, which is 66 times the 14. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Is there an average cost on the road, or does that vary greatly from area
Don't have
to area?
any numbers.
I'm sorry.
So I've done it. One time it was like more comparable to paying for fuel. And then
Okay.
the other time it was like a third of the cost.
Okay.
So I don't have any accurate information on that.
Okay. Well.
It just depends. Here, I'll show you. I don't have the app ready on my phone, but I'll kind of show you. This is a Hummer. It's Altium Altify, so it's a little different, but the map system is going to be very similar than as the one on your phone. So let me power this on. I'll just do a quick route to from like Detroit to Chicago,
Okay.
just so you have an idea.
Yeah. I guess a Hummer's
Of what that's like.
Hummer's a little different than a Bolt, I guess.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot different, right? Let me get something loaded up on here so you get an idea. And what I think is nice about the app is you can basically click on, like, if you want only CCS, which means fast charging, which is what I guess I would do. So, like, I can click on this little energy gas button, and then I can start looking for charging stations in my local area.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see, like, oh, here they are, and it'll show you, like, whether or not they're available. Like, this one is, so I can go ahead and click on it, and it will tell me. It will also tell me what's compatible. So yours, the Bolt charges at a 50 kilowatt rate.
Right.
So I would probably just go to the 100.
Right. Okay.
And then this Hummer charges up to 350.
Okay, but just going back is now, you said the basic model Bolt doesn't have that, correct?
Not in the vehicle, but you can do it from your phone.
You can do it from the
So
phone.
if you have the My Brand app, you still have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto.
Okay.
So you can do it from your phone.
Okay.
If you want that navigation feature in the Bolt, I'd recommend getting a Bolt EUV.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right.
And then the EUV, just so you know, it's a 247 mile range. So it does lose a little bit of range. It's 3 inches longer, an inch taller, an inch wider.
Okay. Okay.
But you can get a sunroof, and it basically unlocks everything you can get. The Bolt just has a few different build options to it. It's a great, great commuter vehicle.
Yeah, I would. I think I would. I was hoping to go with the regular the Bolt EV because it's significantly less. I'm trying
Oh, yeah.
with the cheap going stick with the cheap end on it.
Especially if you can qualify for the federal tax incentives.
Yes. Now that's my my next question is.
Sure.
Does it qualify? Now I've been reading up on these incentives now, and it's very, very confusing. And I did read that initially Biden's plan here, whatever, that I think the Bolt and a number of other EVs were blanket qualified for the full $7,500 credit up until March 1st. And do you know if the Bolt still? I mean, obviously, if I'd gotten my act together, I would have bought one before March 1st. But do you know if the Bolt still qualifies?
As far as I know, I haven't heard any different.
I just have one more question. That was it's a kind of a touchy subject. I saved this for last. I mean,
yeah,
I am aware of their Bolts went out of production for quite a while. Because they were catching fire. Is that been totally resolved, and where do you stand with that?
So it was over a voluntary battery recall. The percentage of actual electric vehicles that have caught on fire is less than 0.5% compared to all other vehicles. And that is from a government data site.
Okay. All right.
Just so you know, it's hybrids, and then it's gas, and then it is electric vehicles. The electric vehicle fires have been grossly televised on that.
So it's resolved. It's resolved then.
Yep.
Okay.
And then there's new batteries on. Everything is up to date. There's no more recalls on that particular aspect of it.
Okay. Actually, going back, there was one more question because you had offered to me about the battery warranty. It was I think you said it was 100,000, 8 years or 100,000 miles. Well, how long can I mean, I can put with a commute like that, it won't take long for me to put 100,000 miles on the car, if I use it for other things, and going to New Hampshire as well. That's a 1,000-mile round trip roughly. So how long can I expect the battery actually to last, aside from the warranty?
So the batteries do have applications for second life use on it, just so you do know. And if you did need any replacements on the batteries, on that one it's 288 individual cells. On that particular one, they could replace the cells. On the new Ultium platform, they replace the entire modules. The benefit of the new platform is that the battery cell chemistry goes further and it costs less.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Okay. And how much does a new battery cost to replace it?
We don't have a price on that.
You don't have a price on that?
No.
Okay.
But by the way, I'm on the Chevy.com right now, and the $7,500 clean vehicle federal tax credit is still on the website.
Okay.
For the Bolt EV.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay.
Okay. I'm on the website right now looking at it, and I was trying to see if there was a change that I wasn't aware of, and I see it right there. Okay.
All right. Yeah, I see it. Okay. All right. Great. Well, thank you very much.
Just I'll copy and paste that to our chat. That way, if you want to take a look at the website, you can take a look at it. Okay.
Okay, I will. Oh, there it is. I see it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. You've been very helpful. You've been very helpful.
All right, I'm glad to hear that. If you do have any other questions, just come back to evlive.jam.com. We're here 7 days a week to just talk about exactly what we did today. So we do welcome you to come back if you think of anything in the future, okay?
Okay, I probably will. It's a lot to digest.
It is a lot. I know. When I started here, it was a lot to digest, but I was with Chevrolet before here, I think 6 or 7 years, so that was helpful.
Okay. All right.
Great.
All right.
Were you able to copy or get that link over in a new tab, okay?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
No problem.
You got it.
Okay.
I'll close that out then. There's a brief survey after the call. If you don't mind leaving a sentence or two about your experience, we love your feedback, okay?
Okay. All right, Jerica. Thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Fill it out honestly.
Well, she was pretty. She was good.
I thought she did a good job.
So what do you rate? I would say 4 stars. There was a few things that were a little bit.
It's 4 to 5 for sure. I was happy with that. There were a couple things that probably could have answered a little bit better, particularly.
If I was if I was answering this on, and if I didn't know what I know, I would have probably given her 5, because she did answer my questions. The only thing is still wasn't quite sure, but they still show the 7,500 thing there of that thing about.
They should be certain of that.
Whether
it's qualified,
because they show it's still on the website, but then I have to go by VIN number. Obviously, so the one I order might not be if the battery came from Africa or something like that, whatever.
They need a little bit more clarity on that. You made a mistake with kilowatt and kilowatt hour once really quickly, but I make that mistake in my videos sometimes. I know what it is. You just say the wrong thing.
I say the wrong thing. I do that too. I do that too.
You're probably going to handle the battery replacement and life a little bit better. I think she could have had a little bit of a better answer on that one. Maybe to say, look, we expect these batteries to last hundreds of thousands of miles, rather than talk about second life stuff. But other than that, it was fantastic. I'd probably give her like 4 to 4.5 stars somewhere in there. I think she did a good job.
I guess I can only.
Well, you're the one here, so you leave the rating.
Because they're going to know. I guess they're going to know this one was.
Know,
so I'll give her 5. What the heck?
And just type in a quick thing, whatever you want to say. Jennifer did a really good job. She helped answer my questions. It was very helpful. Thank you. Something like that. All right,
is that an O or is that a piece of
this? I'm going to talk a little bit about my thoughts on that. I think that she did a pretty good job there. I'm happy with that. I'm going to rewatch it and see if there's anything that I would recommend GM do differently. But overall, I think it was a pretty good experience. And this is what people need. They need a resource like this to ask basic questions about charging. Look, I'm going on a road trip. How do I charge? Where do I plug in? There's another thing talking about the road trip that I kind of wish she would have added. She didn't talk about third-party apps. Just talked about the GM's infotainment system and offering advice on where to find charging stations. I would have preferred if she said, look, there's resources out there like PlugShare or ChargeWay, some of the well-known established apps that really help you find charging stations along your route. I think that would be good if they added that to their the training and were able to direct people to those apps in addition to the in-car navigation. I think that would be helpful. But overall, it was pretty good, and I'm happy to see that GM's educating the public seriously. This has been a good experience. It's pretty clear that we are on an inevitable path to electrifying our entire transportation sector. But there's still a lot of hurdles in place, and it's going to take cooperation and effort from all of the stakeholders involved, including public charging networks, the utilities supplying electricity, the federal government, and yes, the manufacturers who are making and selling these cars. Now, education is going to be a big piece of that puzzle. So I'm really happy to see General Motors stepping up and putting this kind of effort forward to help educate the public with electric vehicle lifestyle, the whole ecosystem, charging, batteries. As I said earlier, whatever questions you have about electric vehicles, you should be able to get those answers on evlive. And I'm really glad that we're moving in this direction, and hopefully the other manufacturers are going to take educating the public as seriously and initiate similar programs as evlive. Listen, if this is your first time here at State of Charge, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Leave your comments in the comment section, because this is a topic that I'm sure people are interested in. I'd like to hear your thoughts on what GM is doing here. And as always, thanks for watching.